everybody, what's going on? In today's video, we're covering a couple more earnings we have coming up this week. Powell had a big week, so we'll talk about that a little bit. We've got some big jobs numbers coming on Friday, so we'll look ahead to the rest of the macro economic data coming this week. We'll look at some setups we've been stalking, and we'll take a look at some new setups, including IQ, SHIP, TCMD. So, by the way, why don't you go ahead and smash that like button for me? We put a lot of work into these videos, and it really helps us out. And if you're wondering who I am, my name's Kevin, and I'm here to help you make sense of all of this. So we do these videos every week to keep our members up to date on what's going on in the markets and to highlight fresh opportunities. We have a really cool community of like-minded investors and traders, and members get to take part in live streams that we do and mentor sessions. So check out the link below in the description and come join us on Discord. All right, here's a quick disclaimer before we get right into this. Everything we do is here for educational purposes only. We are not investment advisors and do not provide investment advice. All trading and investment decisions are your own and done at your own risk. All right, let's do this. So, oops, that's not supposed to, hang on a sec. Sorry, I've got all messed up here. Let's go back to our earnings. All right, so what have we got coming up for the rest of the week? Tomorrow morning, before the open, we have JD.com, big Chinese company, as I'm sure you know. That one will be very closely watched. Some other interesting little names here, maybe for some people like BJ's or PaySafe, Village Farms. On Thursday after the close, some people do like trading Ulta Beauty. It does make nice moves on earnings. I have traded this on earnings now and then. DocuSign is one that almost everybody will be watching. Same with Oracle, another important company. Maybe a couple others in here. I don't recognize any of these names on Friday, so we'll just skip those. All right, let's move on to what's coming up for the rest of the week. So as you can see, that we had Powell testifying the last 2 days. He's done now, thankfully. We had that Joel's job openings come out this morning as well, and we had a bit of a spike on that, but recovered, spiked down on that, recovered very quickly from that, and then we had a bit of a choppy day. When Powell's talking half the day, we're going to have a choppy day. So coming up tomorrow, though, we have unemployment claims before the open, as we always do on Thursdays. Friday's the big one. We've got non-farm payrolls. So this is going to be very closely watched, especially in light of some of the things that Powell said over the last couple of days. So watch out for that. That's before the open on Friday. And that's really, I think, going to start setting the tone coming up into next week. And next week we've got we've got more really important data coming next week. We'll go over all that in the weekend video. Okay. Let's take a look at the markets. We'll take a look at some major indices. Actually, probably won't look at any international markets. Really nothing going on there. The only important commodity that's doing anything right now is oil, maybe. So let's get right into this. Start with the S&P 500. And we can see that we've got a bit of a messy chart here, so we'll just zoom in. We had our pullback. We had a nice 2-day, almost 3-day rally, but on the third day here, this would have been Monday, totally fizzled out as it came into resistance, pulled back a little bit, left us with that shooting star doji. Those are never good news when you see those, or rarely good news when you see those. And then following day yesterday, we had the big move down all day long on Powell, basically warning us that a 50 basis point rate hike is in the cards. Now, before he started talking, or before his prepared statement yesterday, the probability, the market was pricing in a probability of a 50 basis. Sorry, let me restate that. The market was pricing in a 30% probability of a 50 basis point rate hike. So we were looking at the probabilities of at the next meeting, March 22nd, for them to be doing a 25 basis point rate hike. And only a 30% chance that it would be 50. Well, instantly, on the release of his prepared statement, where he said, we're prepared to go higher, raise rates faster and for longer. The market didn't like that, obviously. And we are now today looking at a 80% probability of a 50 basis point rate hike at the next meeting. So, we've gone from 30% to 80%, and this is all that happened to the market. This is kind of awesome in my opinion. And I think this actually might set us up for some really good price action over the next couple of weeks. It's likely that this 80% probability gets to 100% before the meeting on March 22nd. But if it does, and they do raise 50 basis points, what do you think is going to happen? Is it going to sell off on that if it's already all priced in? Or are they going to buy the news? It's going to go, all right, fine, here's the 50 basis points. We've already priced that in. Let's buy this. I think that's the most likely outcome. And moving forward from here, especially with all this data that we've got next week, if we get data that suggests, inflation is still hot, it's not being controlled, I don't think that will be as bad as it could have been because we're kind of pricing that in. Now, if we get data that says inflation is running cooler than expected, then I think we could rally on that because we're pricing in high inflation, hot inflation, and a 50 basis point rate hike. So I think this is really interesting going forward from here. And I kind of like where we pulled back to and bounced today. Look, we're right back on that 50% retracement. We're right back on that uptrend line where we bounced from, or we cut below it a little bit last week, but bounced quite nicely right there. And we've pretty much done the same thing again. We've bounced very near it and come up a little bit. So I expect we could probably see, and I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now, choppy sideways action in a range for the next couple of weeks into the FOMC. But we could get some really nice moves on data that does not support this 50 basis point rate hike. And once we get to that meeting, like I said, they raise 50 points, I think we rally out of it. So don't worry too much about what we've been hearing and this pullback that we had yesterday. I really don't think it's that bad. Okay, let's move on to the Qs. We will see much the same thing going on here. We saw some we've seen interesting sort of price action out of the Qs where a lot of the FAANGs have been doing quite well and kind of outperforming most of the market. And breadth not being all that great. And especially in the small caps. We've definitely been seeing, large cap tech outperforming here. And I think we can kind of see that in these candles right here. We didn't pull back that much, and we've got a nicer looking candle here than we did in this SPY. We haven't come anywhere near that 50% retracement again. We're not even down at the 382. And we're kind of bouncing up off of here and bouncing off the 21-day moving average. So this is pretty interesting here. Let's move on to IWM. And this is interesting too because IWM had been showing relative strength and kind of now it's showing a little bit of relative weakness here. But did bounce right at that 50% retracement, just like the SPYs. So not too bad. Again, I'm not super concerned here. All right, let's take a look at our volatility index. Okay, and here's a reason not to be super concerned. With everything, with that big red day we had yesterday, VIX popped up a little bit, but it couldn't even break 20. And look at today, right? It went up, it tagged 20, it tagged that whole group of moving averages right there, and it pulled right back. So the VIX is saying, hey, there's not much to worry about right now. The 10-year yield. This is still chopping around kind of sideways here. Let me extend this range over. It had that kind of one-day breakout out of there. I guess I should raise this up a little bit. There we go. We had that kind of one-day breakout, and we have a one-day island reversal. Usually you want an island reversal to have a few more days in it, but we'll take that one-day island reversal. this doesn't bother me either. Let's take a look at the dollar index. Got to go over to TradingView for that one. Okay, yesterday dollar really jumped up, and we saw that as weakness in a lot of our equities. A lot of international equities saw some weakness yesterday, but today we got an indecisive candle right here. As you know, we want to see this kind of roll over and start coming back down into here. All right, let's move over to our, we'll look at oil. We're not going to look at all the commodities. None of them are all that interesting. Oil had a bit of a rough day yesterday after getting very near that major resistance area. Pulled back really hard, pulled back a little bit more today, but still within range on this uptrend line. Still just chopping around in a range. Kind of can't make up its mind what it wants to do. Natural gas, this has pulled back a little bit as well, but kind of going sideways a little bit. It hasn't, the bottom hasn't completely fallen out of this yet. This was a nasty day though on Monday. I think it was down as much as 14%. It gapped down a bunch and then just kept going down. But it stopped. It's found some support here. Going to go sideways. I think this needs to just calm down, consolidate, and go sideways for a bit. XLRE, our energy ETF. Not a lot going on here. Kind of looks like everything else, right? And I think the other energy ETFs we usually look at would probably be similar to this. Yeah, that was the producers. We'll look at oil services. Still not looking too bad. This upper range here is still holding. So that could bounce there tomorrow. One that I think is quite interesting, and you maybe want to look on your own at some of the solar stocks, is solar had this really nice rally. On the pullback that we've had over the last couple of days, it's definitely showed relative strength, and you can see nice hammer candle today with half decent volume. And that hammer candle right off the bottom of this support zone, where we've got, how many moving averages we got in there? 4, I think. We've got the 50, we've got the 200. I think the 100 is hiding in there. The 21-day moving average is in there as well. This looks pretty good. So I think you want to maybe be taking a look at some of the solars, maybe some of that haven't run as much yet. Like if you look at First Solar, that one has made a nice move. Look at this. No weakness in this, right? Maybe a little bit of slowing momentum here, but I think that just sets you up for a bit more of a move. But I'm thinking of other names, maybe like Genco Solar. That might be one that's ready to make a move. CSIQ perhaps. That's Canadian Solar. Yeah, this one's looking good. Look at that hammer candle right there. So yeah, go through some of these solar stocks, as there may be some opportunities in there. But remember, these solar stocks are so volatile. They do make for tough plays. So, respect your stops. All right, let's look at consumer discretionary. This saw a little bit more pullback than we'd like to see over the last few days, and even kind of a little bit weak today even. So I don't know. We'll take a look at this again on the weekend, but I don't hold. I don't expect to see leadership out of this sector right now. Industrials, they're hanging in okay. Of course, they had the big red candle yesterday, but we're right at some moving averages. We're showing that kind of hammer-like candle, and right up near all-time highs too. Financials not quite as good looking as the industrials, unfortunately. Really nasty candle yesterday. Continued weakness today, but indecisive right here around a moving average and right here around support. This needs to get off the mat here and retake this zone. Healthcare, we had talked about on the weekend about how this had was moving back into that channel. And you can see Monday's candle was well inside it, but unfortunately we had a nasty red candle yesterday. Bit of another nasty candle, even though this is only half down, 0.5% today. It's a bit of a nasty candle because it broke through this support zone. It broke through the lows, this pivot right here. Now, it's closed right on that pivot. It's got to turn tomorrow, basically, or this is coming lower. XBI, biotech. This was building a nice base, and it fell out of that base today. This is really odd because as I'm scanning for trades and looking mostly for breakout trades and strength, I am finding a lot of individual biotech names that are consolidating really tightly above moving averages. They're looking like, potential really nice breakouts. And that just doesn't jive with what we're seeing in this biotech ETF. So I'm not entirely sure what to make of it. But, if an individual stock is showing strength, especially on a breakout, I'm going to take it. And I think we might have one or two that we're going to look at in a minute in the setups. REITs, all of these defensives are showing relative strength. It isn't surprising when there's uncertainty in the market. We'll look at staples, again, relative strength here a little bit. And utilities. And again, not as weak as some of the stuff we've been looking at. Now, let's look at technology. With large cap tech showing outperformance, we're seeing that here in the technology ETF because it is so dominated by those FAANG stocks. Communication sector, same thing. Not quite as much relative strength, I would say, as tech. Because it's got some weak names in there like Google. It's weird calling Google a weak name, but that's what's going on right now. Let's take a look at our semiconductors, and this is where we're seeing a lot of strength in sort of that tech area. The semis are looking pretty good, and this is another just like your solars, and technically semis are solars. Solars are semis. We're seeing a lot of strength in those names like NVDA, AMD, those kind of names, and we may take a look at a couple of those in a bit. All right, let's look at Meta. Moving on to our FAANG stocks. You can see that tried to break out or poke out the top of this former gap down area into, and through that resistance, which was where this broke down from. Couldn't really hold above there though. This is, fairly decent strength that we've seen out of Meta recently. Apple have been looking pretty good, I'd say. Don't like that candle there on Monday. Trying to reach up to resistance and then getting rejected. Look how that candle is identical to the previous one that went to that same level. That's pretty amazing, eh? But what is different is the reaction to that. It could have been, this red candle here could have looked just like this one. But it did not. It actually finished lower, so this is a weaker candle we had yesterday than that one was. However, this candle today, inside bar here, even though it's indecisive, this is much more bullish than the candle that followed previously. So, yeah, we could be looking at a potential turn up here and maybe see if Apple wants to attack that again. Amazon kind of weak. Didn't pull back as much over the last few days as a lot of other things, but it's not really going up either. It does have a hammer today, but it just seems kind of stuck in this zone. And you know what? That's kind of okay, I think. We need to be able to give Amazon some time to just kind of go sideways and get over the big move down, get over the failure of all this up here. Netflix continues to grind down, but it's coming into an important trend line, and you've got that 100-day moving average there. The momentum is slowing, I think, maybe on this move down. Definitely an important couple of days coming up for Netflix. Google, one of our weak links, or had been one of the weak links, sorry, had rallied really nicely and has hung in, I think, quite well over the last couple of days. We're starting to build a little base in here, and that's what we need to see. After we've had really strong pullbacks like that, and then we get a little bounce, if this goes sideways for a while, that is healthy. It's probably the healthiest thing it can do. So let's just let it give Google some time, and we'll probably see good things there again. All right, Microsoft, you know, a little up and down, nothing terribly interesting going on here. Tesla. So Tesla is dropping on more insanity, or I can't use the word on YouTube that I want to use. Tesla, Elon being Elon, I guess. I don't know. He said some pretty nasty things, I think. I'm not impressed. Hear that, Elon? Not impressed. Anyway, and you can see the market's not impressed either. He needs to chill out a little bit. He needs to think before he tweets and talks. And, you know, but will he ever? When is he going to learn that lesson? And these are questions I think the market is asking right now. So, Tesla is down quite a ways. Coming into, you can see we've got this gap support here. This gap is now filled. So I will just get rid of that. But I'm actually going to turn this into a support resistance level right here, because I think this is an important level it's come into. I had been short Tesla over the last number of days, and I closed out my short today near the close because it's come into this level. And you know, it's down a ways, and whenever Tesla is down a ways, it does tend to bounce. Tesla bulls will come in, you know, if they see value here, and this does seem like a level that they probably see value. They'll come in and buy this. If Tesla breaks down here and starts to develop some momentum early in the day tomorrow, and the market is weak, I would reshort this here. For myself, I'm talking me personally, this is not investment advice, but I would definitely get on the short side of that again. So that is Tesla. All right, let's look at some of the setups that we've been watching for a while now. This NVDA just continues to get tighter and tighter and tighter in here. And trying to almost fake out above the line that I drew. So if you are going to play this, you've got to get a little bit of room above all these wicks. You know, for an entry. But I'm like, you know, this is going to break out one way or the other and move quickly. You know, this stock we've seen, you know, a lot more volatility than this out of this stock in the past. Although the ATR on this is only 1.6%, so I mean, don't expect huge moves. But I think we could get something out of that. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on it. Roblox is one that I had suggested a play, you know, off of this little consolidation here, right on top of the 200-day moving average. If you took that, congratulations. It made a nice little move. But you can see now we're consolidating sideways and making a nice looking bull flag. You know what to do with a bull flag, right? You buy the breakout, you put a stop just below it, or somewhere, you know, below the intraday low on the day you bought, something like that. But yeah, this looks like, you know, over the next few days to a week or so, this could make another move higher. So worth watching. NVIDIA, mentioned that in the weekend video. And, you know, we talked about a few minutes ago all of the semiconductors. This is looking ready to go. So again, you know what to do on a breakout. So NVIDIA is one of them. AMAT is another name that not performing quite as well NVIDIA, but close. So this could make a move as well if NVIDIA goes and AMD probably goes. I mean, all the semis will probably go at once. So, you know, look for the ones that have the best setup to, you know, or the, you know, largest potential move. All right, so new setups. There wasn't a ton of really solid, good-looking setups. A lot of what I found is in the pharmaceuticals. For some reason. Remember I was talking about how biotechs are you know, showing some nice setups, and a lot of these pharmaceuticals and therapeutics are showing nice setups, which is unusual because when we looked at those healthcare ETFs, they looked weak. But you can see here, this is HROW Health, pharmaceutical company. Look how well this has moved along the 10-day and 21-day moving average. You know, every time it's rode along that for a little bit, it's breaking out, moved higher, and now we've got a nice tight little consolidation here. You know, you've got you've got higher lows here, and in the very recent, the last few days, we've got some lower highs. So you could just play a breakout of the previous day's high, or you could wait for this level here. That level is about 1920. So about 1920 looks good. Now, watch out for the 2031 here. This is an all-time high, or it's a decade or more than a decade high. This high goes all the way back. We haven't been up here since 2011. So once you get above that, you could really get a strong move. There's not going to be any overhead up there, right? So that one's interesting. IQ, this one is I believe it's the Chinese Netflix. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong on that. It is a Chinese stock. Nice, build a really nice base here. And you notice how this has in the past stair-stepped up, builds a base for a bit, breaks out, goes a little higher. This is what we want to see out of stocks in an uptrend. So if you like this as an investment, I'm not suggesting this is an investment. If you like this as an investment, it's giving you an opportunity here to get in for the next leg up. And it's always nice to start an investment on a leg up. So again, because it's been kind of loosey-goosey in here in this base, what I'd really like to see is for it to consolidate up here in the top right for a little bit, for at least a few days to a week or even two. If it could get really tight up in there, I think that would really improve our chances of having a big move out of there. So that's IQ, worth watching. Next one up is SHIP SHIP. So this is Sea Energy Maritime Holdings. Not exactly sure what they do, but obviously they're something in the marine industry. But look at this, is making a nice traditional bull flag, right? This downward sloping bull flag, and look how that is hugging the 200-day moving average. And notice how we've got the 10-day moving average has come right up into there, and it has supported over the last 2 days. This is interesting. I like this. A little bit wide on the flag, I think, but I guess actually no. We're probably only 644 to 680. Yeah, 40 cents wide. It's not too bad. But this looks ready to go. So that's worth a watch. Maybe another day or two. And again, if this was to tighten up in here, and consolidate in the top half of that range, even better. And finally, Tactile Systems Technology. I like this. Oops, I forgot to draw on this one. We'll draw on that for you guys. I think, you can see why I like this. We've got, you kind of got a bit of a flat top right there. So that's a level you can use. And obviously, you've got a nice series of higher lows here. You've got the hugging along the 21-day moving average and the 10-day moving average. It's continuing to do that, tightening up. Had a good day, or a pretty decent day today, up just over 3%. Our ATR, though, on this is 6.28%. So 3% move today is really only half an ATR. So it is building energy for a breakout. I think of the four new ones I've showed you, I think this is probably my favorite. Now let's back up and make sure we're not missing anything. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I did draw these lines. So okay, you got to watch out for a couple of levels from back here. Right about there and there on the upside. And you can see how some of this, consolidation area here is corresponding with this here as well. And then we've got that level there if this should break down. Not that, not that you should be in it if it does break down out of here. You certainly shouldn't be in this if it comes all the way back to here. You've got to decide where your stops are, but I know mine are going to be really tight because if this breaks out, it should just go. So I'm not going to give this much room on the downside. So there you have it. Hopefully you found this interesting. Hopefully there's some setups here you like. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week. Let's go back over here. I want to thank everybody for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you got any questions or any comments on anything we talked about, put them in the comments and I will respond to you. Thanks so much. Bye.